Ambassador Sajjanhar and Lieutenant General Raj Shukla joined me on the broadcast to decode this in greater detail. To understand what should be the next course of action, should we be preparing for a possible Pakistani misadventure, and what is our roadmap when it comes to our objectives with regard to fighting against terror. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the broadcast. And General Shukla, let me start with you, sir. It's been about 12 to 14 hours since India struck the terror modules. I want to understand from you, sir, going forward, as someone who's done this planning at a military level, at the precise level, explain to us what is the kind of roadmap that India has now prepared for itself, or should be preparing from a military point of view and also from a anticipation point of view going forward.
So thanks, Gaurie. As I've been thinking over this, over these 12 hours, the thoughts of our super cop KPS Gill come to my mind. Many years back, he said that you will win the war on terror not by running after the terrorists, but by overwhelming the adversary. I think this, in our whole battle in this war of terror, this is a seminal moment. We spent years running after the adversary, and finally we've, come to running after the terrorists, and finally we've come to grips with the adversary. Now, as you said, so far what has happened, round one, I think it's been a phenomenal success. Since the losses are not clearly out, I would rate it as high as 8 on 10, 9 on 10. But the fact is that it may be early days because the response and retaliation is yet to follow. But what is really striking is two things. I've been talking for a while about the unfolding of this calibrated military kinetics. In fact, we had a conversation on that. And there I see some brilliant alchemy of India's power and purpose. I'll tell you why. In the whole politico-military orchestration of this, we saw great synergy between the political leadership and the military. I've been into many of these operations in the past. That was lacking. The symbolism of this mission Sindoor, it shows Indian resolve to avenge the loss and grief of our brides. And insofar as the whole strategic military enterprise has, executed this, right?
Yes.
I think the strike package was brilliant. And let me tell you 2-3 reasons why. In choosing the target array, we have enlarged it from POK down to South Punjab, from Muzaffarabad to Bahawalpur. Last time around Operation Swift Retort, I was the corps commander in Bhatinda. Bahawalpur is right opposite. General Rawat was in my headquarters when we were planning, a strike on Bahawalpur. We didn't get to it. But this time, as your anchor was explaining, getting the human right, space int right, the synchrony between the sensors and the shooters, the loitering munitions, long-range precision, scalp, hammer, getting all this together, in the space of 25 minutes, any professional military will concede is a huge ask.
Phenomenal, indeed.
So far, the execution has been really brilliant. And whatever happened to Pakistan's famed air defense?
Indeed.
Where were the HQ-9s and the Fizaya?
Absolutely.
And let me also tell you just one more quick point. We have, in our targeting, we have left a message. We have said that we have struck the terror ecosystem. We have not yet gone to the military targets. The escalatory dominance is us. We suggest that you don't respond, but if you do, we are prepared. So as I said, round one to us, I would rate it 9 on 10, if not 10 on 10. I don't know what ambassadors...
I'm going to ask him just that Ambassador Sajjanhar, as General Shukla is saying that this is round one, what should be our diplomatic, non-military roadmap if this were to have a round two?
Yeah, thank you very much, Gaurie. And, if there's going to be round two, of course, we need to be prepared militarily, which I'm certain we are because, if you look at how things are unfolding, if we had expected that nothing would happen beyond this, the Prime Minister who's supposed to travel to Norway, Croatia, and Netherlands from the 13th to the 17th, he would not have cancelled those visits. And those are still a week away from now. Today is the 7th and 13th is, good 6-7 days, which means as far as political leadership is concerned, it is not complacent at all. It is quite prepared for what might come its way. So I think militarily and politically, we are, psychologically, we are quite prepared that this was Sindoor Operation 1 and Sindoor Operation 2 is in the wings, and we are ready for it as and when the time arrives. Now, to come to your question in terms of diplomatically, and I think this is the narrative that we have to create. I think our narrative is pretty strong, Gaurie, if I may say that, because if you look at it, very recent examples, I think going back also as far as Pakistan is concerned, its credibility is, very depleted. There's hardly anyone who would trust. You look at, what it was doing during the supporting and helping the Taliban against the NATO and the American forces, how Osama bin Laden was found there as far as its, footprints and track record on 26/11. So, all of it going back. Pakistan's credibility is seriously diminished, across the world.
But this is not just about Pakistan's credibility or the lack of it. The fact is there are geopolitical factors in which India operates in which all of us operate in, and that is dynamic in nature. And General Shukla, that's the other thing I want to ask you, which is that India's neighborhood is also tense. Till now, the reactions that have come in from the diplomatic community, the international community, one needs to see them, and then one also needs to see the message that has come in from China. How do we read that equation, that possibility, in terms of, if at all, there is a round two?
So, I think Ambassador Sajjanhar is a better person to talk about the diplomatic space. But my reading of the diplomatic space tells us that the Americans are largely with us, so are the Russians, so is Israel. And given the success...
No, militarily as well, sir. Militarily as well.
Okay, so militarily, let me tell you, what are the 3 messages that we have sent out in my view? We have re-established deterrence. We have told the Pakistanis and the world that this business of using terror as a tool of statecraft will not work. May I also point out that it may be a seminal moment for our statecraft. Look at our strategic evolution. 26/11, how did we respond? I was a brigadier or a colonel when Kaluchak happened, when we were mobilized and we were hit. Our families were hit and we didn't respond. That gave the impression of a soft state. That has come around a full circle. And the clear message is now to Pakistan especially, and the world by way of byproduct, that please don't mess with us. We are now a power which is coming of age. Of course, that should not be grounded in hubris.
Yes.
There is a lot of long road to be traveled. But, from that mid-career position when we were hit and our response was pathetic,
yes,
I think it's a very proud moment today when...
Absolutely.
In the manner in which we've hit across.
Absolutely. Ambassador Sajjanhar, quickly, sir, you want to come in there in terms of the China factor?
Let me take on from where, what I was saying last time. As far as, I said Pakistan's credibility is diminished. But in the reverse order, as far as India's credibility in the world, that is very huge. And I think geopolitical interests and geopolitical considerations of different countries will make them come with India. As far as China is concerned, it has expressed regret. It will, I don't think it is, it might help Pakistan with intelligence. It might help Pakistan with military hardware or whatever it is. But I don't think it can go beyond that in any way. And none of the other countries can also go beyond that in any way. I think we have, by and large, as far as the world is concerned, it feels that, terrorism, we should, there should be zero tolerance to terrorism.
Yes.
And whatever India is doing, it is doing to protect its own interests. The world will slowly, gradually, all the major powers, of course, will come to it. And what I was mentioning also is, as far as the UN Security Council is concerned,
Absolutely.
where Pakistan would have gone with high hopes that it will be able to get some strictures
It was a diplomatic
against
disaster
India.
for them.
Its hopes were not realized, yes.
Absolutely.
So I think the world is with us on that, both politically and geopolitically.
Absolutely.
And we need to use that advantage to our benefit in terms of reaching out to the international community to put pressure on Pakistan, go to the FATF, go to the IMF, as we are planning to do.
Absolutely.
To have much greater pressure on Pakistan today.
All right, I'm going to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me.